very good morning to you. It's good to see you. 8 minutes past the hour, and today our focus of conversation right here on the show that is Your World is all about technology integration in basic education. And as we all know and understand how important education is when it comes to our children, and of course it is enshrined in our constitution that every child has a right to not only just basic education but good quality at the same time and accessible. And we're also talking about equality as well. So today on the show we want to understand how important technology is when it comes to integrating it in basic education, especially in the current world as far as the CBC is concerned. And like I said, we all know how important it is, right? And in a world that is constantly evolving with technological advancements, the integration of technology in classrooms has become an essential aspect of today's education. So this means that as we move towards the reform measures, moves towards technology, right, and embracing technology, reform measures ensure that it succeeds. Information communication technologies, that is ICT, will play a very integral role in the delivery of quality education that is, like I said, accessible, relevant, and equitable to all. So from the era of the free laptops in schools, right, the question is, where exactly are we and what does the future look like? That is what we want to understand from today's conversation. And how do we make sure that every single child has access to quality education, but also not left behind when it comes to technology. So to help us with that conversation, on my immediate left, we have Dishon Mwanza, who is a parent in today's capacity on the conversation, and a CBC parent, if we can say that. I'm really curious to hear how that is like, how that has been for you, because a number of parents were like, this is too much for us as parents. So looking forward to hear what you have to say. Then next to him, we have Faith Ngogoyo, who is Faith Ngogoyo Mwangi, country lead at TISA's education. You also help us understand what that is all about, because you're very, very key when it comes to technology and integrating that into the education system. And then we also have Moses Thurima, who's the Deputy Secretary General, Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers. That is KUPPET. Good to have you this morning. Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure you'll be in a good position to talk to us as far as free laptops and what happened to that. But last but not least, we have Simon Shiraku Omutiti, who's a senior teacher, Jonathan Glog Academy. Good to have you as well this morning, just to understand from, the private schools aspect, again, how important this is, and have you been able to integrate technology into their system? This is as far as education is concerned. But let me begin with you, Moses, very quickly. Understanding where we are at, because like we said, the free laptops, it ignited a lot of conversation and even sort of like charted path towards integrating ICT and education as well. So I'm just curious to understand from you, all those years up until where we are today, where would you say we are at? Have you seen maybe any improvement as far as that is concerned? And what would you say is important when it comes to thinking about integrating ICT into education?
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank the NTV for finding time for us so that we can weigh into this issue of ICT integration in our schools.
Yeah.
You remember in 2013 campaigns, the Jubilee government, which that time it was URP and TNA, and the flagship that we are going to provide laptops in schools, and every child will get a laptop from the government, so that we can start integrating the 844 system with the ICT, and particularly in the lower section of the school.
Yeah.
When they formed the government, they set aside about 17 billion to buy laptops for the learners. It took almost 5 years before they started rolling out the buying of laptops. Of course, a policy was developed by the ministry to ensure that schools were now getting integrated. But the greatest problem in our schools was who is going to roll out this, because even the teachers were illiterate in terms of ICT.
They're not
there was a lot of phobia among the teachers that how do we deal with this one when you're given a gadget? You start wondering, when do you start? Even opening is a problem. So the teachers are to be trained. And the kind of training that we are talking about is when you come today and tomorrow you are told that you are the one to deal with the
gadgets that were needed,
the gadgets that were being provided for. So a few gadgets were bought and were sprinkled in schools just to satisfy the public that the government was performing. But some of these gadgets found themselves in the very dusty stalls where, you know, there was nowhere to keep them. There was no infrastructure for the ICT. So the integration died a natural death in public schools. And now with the onset of CBC, the integration is mandatory because computer is part of the curriculum.
It's true.
And from our observation is that private schools could be prepared. But up to now, public schools are not.
They're still not prepared.
They are not prepared because they don't have anything to call ICT, because you need things like labs, you need things like, you know. These things are not there in primary schools. And there is not even personnel to deal with it, because even teachers, when they want to send information to the Teacher Service Commission, they hire the cyber personnel to do it. So we are doing very badly as a country in terms of ICT integration
in schools. Okay, we'll come back then to understand. So then what is the biggest challenge? Is it that the resources are not there? Because again, when it comes to education, there has been fairly good amount when it comes to allocation of the budgets. I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Is it enough? Is it not? Do we still have much more to do? But yes, what is the biggest issue? Why 10 years later we still have schools that do not even have labs, you know, like you said, up until today. But he said public schools are private schools are much better. Is that the case?
Very true.
Okay.
In Jonathan Glog, which is a part of the private schools, we are well equipped.
Okay.
Like last year, we had to come up with 2 more laboratories. Those are ICT laboratories. We are talking of 4 as we talk right now.
Okay.
We have 4 of them, well equipped, ready for the CBC. We took our teachers for training. They have gone for several trainings, including coding classes. And we are doing very well.
All right.
In fact, when I heard about the integration discussion here, I was like, oh my God, you have answered my question, because here's a good opportunity to talk about it. And so for people to get to know what we are doing there. When CBC came in place, we are like, actually it was hard the way he has put it. But apparently, we teachers in private schools, we took it the way it was. We went for the laptops. Like in our school, what we do, we have tablets, classroom tablets.
All right. 1
for 2 children, they share.
Okay.
And it's working, because the teacher is able to use them very well. The children are able to use them very well. And when teaching, we're using the classroom tablets, 75% of the work is done by children.
Okay.
Teachers are just there to guide a quarter of the work. But 75% children are the ones to do.
By the children. Okay. All right. I see that. I'm curious to hear from the parent before I speak to Faith. Very quickly. And this is as far as, first of all, just CBC in itself, from a parent's perspective, before we even talk about technology. Because during COVID, right, 2020 is when we saw a lot of conversations around online or digital learning. And would say COVID came with blessing and a curse in itself, but even still, I'm pretty sure as a parent you have a bit of concerns here and there, because these kids, have access to the internet.
Correct.
So, but again, from the CBC aspect in itself, and then we'll come back to ICT.
Okay.
What has that been like for you as a parent?
Well, thank you, Winnie. I have 3 children currently.
Yeah.
One is in grade 3. And he was already, when he joined school, of course, he was brought into CBC immediately. So he's not had a taste of the previous regime.
Yeah.
CBC in itself has been very engaging to us, the parents, and also to the children. So the assignments have been pretty engaging. And what I love about CBC is the fact that it's technology based. So, like for instance, assignments would come, and you would be forced to print out an assignment for your student, for your child. You need to sit down with your child, Google things, teach him how to use the computer, and then now submit the assignments. So that's a plus for CBC, pretty engaging. I think the small challenges that we've had with CBC is that sometimes they're pretty demanding, especially for parents who work for long hours. You get home late and the child is here and you have to do homework.
I mean, but teachers were happy. They were like, you parents.
We're not doing anything.
Now it's
but now we're part of the the learning for the child.
Okay. And just understanding first of all technology, because again we've seen a lot of parents who say, listen, this is the internet. Most parents would not, what is it called? Like they would not engage much because they're like, whatever is happening, on this other side of the world. But now you're forced to sort of like understand how this world, first of all, that is the digital world is, and how that will impact your child.
Correct.
You sort of like have to monitor all the time what they do. So how has that been like for you?
So it's been quite the thing. So at least now you're part of your child's life.
Okay.
Even on the digital space, correct? So you guide them also to make decisions there in the digital space, because the digital space is
I'm sure you have concerns as well, and I'll come back to understand what are some of these concerns that you have. Because like we said, safety is one of the things that most parents would worry about as far as their children are concerned. But Faith, integrating tech in schools, I mean, Moses has said very well, there has been a lot of issues. First of all, there was not enough training that was done to the teachers. But from an overall perspective, how important is this? Do you think this is a world where, we are in this world right now, digital space, but even moving forward, and especially for those parents who are like, there is a digital, and even some teachers as well, who are like, this is for Gen Zs and these other generations to come, but for us, we're good with a chalk and a board.
Okay. Thank you so much, Willie, for having me. I think I want to start by just speaking to what Mr. Moses has mentioned, and the question on resources, right? The truth of the matter is that resources are possibly never going to be adequate. It's a question of utilization.
Whatever is
Are
available.
we utilizing the resources that we have effectively and efficiently, right? When you look at the allocation towards education in terms of the annual budget, we are looking at just about 25% of the total annual budget going towards education, right? That's between 5 and 6% of the GDP of the country. And so it is not necessarily a question of resource availability. We are going to have that question through and through, but it's a question of how are we utilizing the resources that are available. We spoke about capacity building just before I get to the importance of ICT. We spoke about capacity building and some of the challenges that we have experienced in actually implementing technology-based education. You are expecting that learners should access tech-based education and they sit in a classroom Monday through to Friday with a teacher who has no idea how to use WhatsApp as a tool for education. Today, if you ask teachers, some teachers, a good number, to attach a PDF on WhatsApp, just WhatsApp, let alone the online classes and Zoom and so on and so forth.
And the softwares that they have to acquaint themselves with.
Or to run a basic poll among the parent population using WhatsApp. Can they do that, right? So we are having all this tools, and as a country we are truly blessed because we do not have a scarcity when it comes to access to some of these technology based tools, and especially the hardware, right? You walk in the CBD, you walk in different counties, you'll see a distributor here selling electronics, selling tablets, selling laptops and so on and so forth. However, are the key stakeholders equipped to actually implement effectively downstream, right? So even some questions on the phobia he spoke about among teachers, it's very interesting, but it's very true, because it's a very it's a fear that's very alive. Some teachers fear the replacement by technology.
Yes.
And that is actually a question of capacity building. Are we empowering our teachers and key stakeholders to understand the importance of technology so that the interventions are sustainable, right? For it to be sustainable, the key stakeholder, who is the deliverer of education or the facilitator, has to be empowered. Now, on to your question on the importance of technology today. The truth of the matter is that we are in an age where we cannot avoid or escape from it. I mean, we are talking about very, very advanced technologies, ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on and so forth. Now, if you're just to scale it down a little bit, right? Basic technology for education is something that we have to catch up with. And I want us to reconcile that education is truly at the center of all these other SDGs and big goals that we think about. But how much effort are we putting in place to ensure that the access to quality education can be scaled sustainably? The truth of the matter is that the government or key stakeholders might not have capacity to build all the infrastructure to support access to quality education across the country. But what do? We have the power of technology such that a child seated in Turkana can be on a tablet and see an apple. You know, an apple, Winnie, can be a very abstract thing. You'd be surprised, right? Not just to a learner, but also to an educator who has never seen an apple, right? So that learner in Turkana, how are you able to shape their worldview, improve access to quality education? You might not have the resources to actually set up the full range of the infrastructure, but you can use a tech-based tool to ensure that they have the same access as a child sitting in a market Nairobi, right? The second thing on that still.
No, I'm really curious to hear what Simon, Moses rather has to say, and even Simon at some point, the fact that yes, it is important for every single child to have access to quality education, but and that is their right. But now the sad thing is that some don't even have classrooms, let alone gadgets, right? Where they can have access to the same access that a child, for example, in Nairobi has. Some of them learn under trees.
Absolutely. And that brings me to my second point, which is very, very critical, that the scaling of tech-based interventions cannot be done in isolation. The second point is partnerships, right? There's not a shortage of partnerships that we could leverage to actually ensure that that child who might not have access to basics can have that access. There's development partners, there's the private sector, there's the policy makers and government, but the gap is actually in integrating and leveraging these partnerships or the areas of synergy to ensure that we are scaling these interventions sustainably.
And we'll come back to then to understand how best do we, again, like you're saying, we need to leverage you know, the power when it comes to partnership. So then how do we do that? What are some of the steps so that, again, like you said, we cannot work in isolation, because at the end of the day, every single child has a right to quality, that is good quality education. So Moses, I'm curious to hear what you have to say. We're talking about technology, and yet there are some kids who are learning under trees. There are some kids who cannot, there's no resources. There is also the question about security. So some children would not go to school in the first place. So they're lagging behind while the rest of them are comfortably seated in schools in front of computers and like tablets, right? Yes, one for every two. So this kind of inequality, would you say this is heavily impacting on the fact that we need to also inculcate and involve you know, all the stakeholders to make sure that we also have, you know, technology in schools?
Yes, about ICT, is about quality, is about access, and is about equity also. Because when you can sit with this gadget and go through information, other things come second. So what we are saying is that the problem we have had in this country is lip service from the the government.
Okay.
The government has never been serious with education.
All right.
Because when we talk about 25% of our budget to the...
Being allocated to schools.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for education.
That one is a drop in the ocean.
How much would you say is enough?
And education, you know, is that they have the budgets.
Yes.
You know, the budgets given to them.
Yeah.
And they know how much can help learners and teachers to mobilize themselves in terms of giving quality to the learners and giving access. Some of these things are constitutional, right? The right to education, the right to quality,
right, yes.
The right to quality service is constitutional, is a right. And for that reason, after more than 10 years of the new constitution, you will find that things are the same. Because when you go to public schools, and particularly primary schools, they look like ruins. So even those who have classrooms, not that they are classrooms, that they are comfortable.
Yeah.
The desk where they sit is terrible. You can see learners basically very uncomfortable in those schools.
Yeah.
So the environment of learning in the country must be addressed by the stakeholders.
All right.
I want to agree with
Faith.
Yeah, that they need to enhance the partnership relationships.
Okay.
Because education is expensive. We must agree to it.
Yeah.
So what we do is that we must reach out to the partners. But the ministry, when we talk about the partners, they talk about partners who are bringing money.
Okay.
Not partners who are bringing public good to them.
Okay.
So if you go there with information and then you want to discuss with them, they say that you are coming to theorize over nothing. Okay. Because their interest is money. So we need to bring the stakeholders and you know, the businessmen who are in education and the organizations that are interested in education.
Yeah.
So that we find out what is this that they can offer to the country. Okay. So that we partner with them and drive education.
Okay. All right. You said lip service.
The only problem is that there is no political goodwill.
Okay.
We have been here for a long time.
Yeah.
And
we've had
we know there isn't. People want to talk about we have given capitation, we have given schools money, but how much money have you given?
Okay, you still have not answered my question, which I asked, how much would be enough? Because like you said, 25%.
I may not have the budget.
No, the estimation in terms of like the percentage, because like you said, 25% a drop in the ocean. How much would be okay or enough? From your perspective, but I think you'll answer that after the break, and I'm also curious to hear what both Addition and Simon have to say, and especially the fact that some parents, I told you to me on WhatsApp, okay, and some teachers as well. So then there's that breakdown, you know, when it comes to communication, but even still just getting the requirements that is needed in schools. But let's answer all those questions after the break. Remember, it's all about technology integration in basic education. Where are we? What needs to be done? What exactly does the future look like? We'll be answering those questions after the break. Stay with us.
Acne's Creamy Wash is a foamy and gentle cleanser that removes sebum and dirt in the pores. Step 2. Acne Soothing Toner maintains skin pH. Step 3. Acne Sealing Gel quickly clears pimple-causing bacteria. The latent acne clears, cares, and helps prevent pimples.
Benefits of ordering with Glovo. Glovo allows you to order anything you want at the comfort and convenience of your home. Craving fried chicken or pilau or pizza? Easy and simple. Order on Glovo today. Glovo. Order anything, we deliver in minutes. With Glovo you order anything unataka and when you get it una celebrate because kukuchoma imefika na wakati keki inafika ndio sherehe inaanza. Order Glovo will deliver in minutes.
Show off your best skin with Nivea Nourishing Cocoa Body Lotion. Now with 5-in-1 complete care. The deeply nourishing formula prevents your skin from drying with precious cocoa butter and deep moisture for smooth and healthy looking skin. Step out in confidence with our most complete care from the world's #1 skincare brand.
Imagine 10 people you know and love. Imagine if any of them needed blood immediately. This is a reality. Every 10 minutes, 10 people in Kenya need blood. Be it a mother in a maternity ward, an accident case, a surgery, or even a lifelong medical condition. These people need your help. Why don't you be their hero? Your timely voluntary blood donations will ensure our blood banks never dry up. Save a life today. Donate blood regularly at a county blood donation satellite near you. Changia damu, okoa maisha. Be the lifeline.
Hallelujah! The Lord is worthy of all praise.
God rewards faithfulness. And he's saying to Abraham, you have been faithful. You have walked the journey, you've stayed the course, and I will show myself faithful on your behalf. When we pray, we say, God, we are trusting you for breakthrough. We are waiting on you for breakthrough. But do you know what? Sometimes it is God who is waiting on you.
Okay, all right, welcome back. The show is Your World. And of course, the conversation as always continues even during the break. And today we're focusing on technology integration, and this is in basic education. Like we're saying, again, the right to quality. Good quality education is enshrined in our constitution, and every single child has the right to the same. But the big question is, first of all, do they know that, number one? And number two, what exactly is being done to make sure that there's that aspect of equality? It doesn't matter whether you are in Wajir or in Turkana or in Nairobi or whatever it is that a child is, they all have to have the same level, and this is as far as quality education is concerned. But even still, there's so many challenges here and there, and especially when it comes to technology. And Fed said this before we went on a break. Some parents do not have basic knowledge, and I wonder whose then responsibility that is, because now a teacher cannot come to, you know, exactly teach a parent. Some children, fortunately most, not children, but would say like, yeah, children, adults, you know, teenagers and whatnot, are very tech savvy, and especially this Gen Zs and Gen Alpha are very tech savvy. But then there's some parents who are like, kwani wewe unajua nini? Wewe huwezi nifunza. You know? So there's that aspect. But I wonder what you have to say in relation to what Faith said. That basic knowledge about navigating, you know, the digital space. Most parents do not have a clue. Yeah.
Well, I think it's basically a role of the parents themselves to take up.
Yeah.
It's for them to learn so that they can be able to teach their children, or when their children come with, because children are very curious.
Yeah.
So when the children come with, say, a laptop or a tablet, and they want to learn something, the parent at least needs to know something, just so that they can guide the child, the learner. So I think it's just a duty of the parent.
Of the parent. I mean, you look pretty young, and I'm pretty sure you have some basic knowledge here and there, really, as far as navigating this space. But did you have like challenges initially when it comes to just, first of all, understanding what you're supposed to do at what point, and just navigating, and especially when it comes to the softwares that are being used?
Well, well, initially, Well, you'd probably just get to make your path, right? Like define your journey in the space. So there are challenges, yes. For parents, I basically didn't have any challenge per se, but not big challenges. It's just basically you and what you want to learn.
Okay. But what are some of the concerns that you have as far as tech and that being, you know, used in schools?
So, what I would like to say is, for instance, the tablet issue. If, for instance, your children have tablets that are provided by the schools, the beauty of those tablets is what they do is they come with the softwares and everything is pre-installed, correct? So the space is more or less it's safe space for the children. It's not like out here where you would go and the child will go anywhere where they'd want to go. So this is controlled. So I would advocate for the education in schools to be controlled and confined in a space where parents are comfortable. We don't have to worry about you know, the children.
But at home, because I'm sure you have gadgets at home, right?
Yes.
And the children would use your gadget to access, you know, and integrate, and I mean interact with their fellow learners as well. And you see, yours might not be as safe as the ones provided maybe in schools at the same time. So what are some of the concerns that you have generally about just children being handed these gadgets that are supposed to help them when it comes to their education?
Well, so if the gadget is sorted, at least there the decisions are more or less controlled.
Okay.
When it comes to our gadgets now at home, it's basically us now trying to guide the children in the decisions they're going to make while in the space. So, like for instance, if a child wants the phone and they want to go to YouTube, it's for you to tell them, okay, go to this, and then once in a while you check up on them just to make sure that they're not going into
You know, for a very long time there has been that conversation about when do you allow your children to have gadgets, because right now, I mean, a 2-year-old ameshanunua gadget for their birthday. Yes, right? So when you say yes at home, it's up to us to make sure that we monitor and whatnot, but you cannot monitor your child, you know, fully, exactly. Just to get to understand what exactly they're doing there. And Faith also talked about harnessing the power of partnerships, and that does not seclude parents
from partners, yes.
right? As well. But very quickly, Simon.
Parents are also partners.
Parents are also partners, yes.
And
they cannot be,
Before we move to Simon, I really need to speak to that, because when it comes to parental involvement, it is not just an issue of access to this content. It is also that parents must take responsibility for the digital safety and security of their children. And I think that's a big one, right? Today, the teacher, Mr. Simon here, will give an assignment. What do you call it? It's not assignment.
Extension activity.
Extension activity, right? So they will give their extension activity for the child to go on YouTube. And watch a video, do whatever it is in terms of homework. And you cannot predict the ad that is going to run on YouTube. So get this, it might not be inappropriate by our standards, but it might not be explicit. That's what I mean, right? Because perhaps it's YouTube, but it might not be age appropriate. I'll give you an example. Today, do I want my close to 3-year-old to watch primetime news that's showing a murder case and the investigation that's going on? No. Right? So it is not necessarily explicit per se. It is just not age appropriate for the 3-year-old. And that's where the role of the parents come in, because the teacher is not present in the household, but the parent or the guardian is present. We have to be very deliberate about having this conversation on digital safety and security of our learners, even as we champion access to technology-enabled education, right? So, like he said, would it be preferable to have platforms, TESAS and other amazing education technology platforms that provide that safe learning environment, safe learning digital environment? Absolutely. Because you know that if your child logs into TESAS or whatever other online platform, right, they do not have the distraction of advertisements. They do not have content that you cannot control coming in, right? They're in there for a specific purpose. You can monitor, there's parental control, and you can actually vet and verify the quality of education and the quality of information that your child is being able to access. So parents are key stakeholders in this process, right?
Before we even talk about governments.
Yes, it is not just about doing the assignment with the child. It is about them taking on this role to ensure that as the children interact with technology-based tools, that they are in a safe digital learning space.
Absolutely. All right. Simon, even as you provide all these gadgets that is needed in schools, right? You talked about training as well for the teachers, which is absolutely important. But then again, there's also this other fear by so many teachers that technology, right, artificial intelligence is coming to take away our jobs, and then us will be rendered jobless, right? So we saw a lot of teachers sort of like, you know, rebelling to all these changes, because again, change is not, it's not easy to embrace, right? So I wonder what you have to say to that. I know you'll say good things about private schools and you know, and all those things, but the reality on the ground is that even some teachers still in private schools will still have challenges here and there when it comes to integrating technology in learning as well.
Actually, change is like rest, and for you to implement new policy on the ground, so many people resist against that.
That's true,
And when CBC came in place, most staffs in school, not just teachers, even the staffs working in the school compound, they were like, we are going to lose our jobs because things are going to be online. And that's not the case. It's all about attitude. When you have negative attitude towards something, you will not achieve the objectives. So what I realized is the attitude is negative. And this attitude is a result of this people who did the 844 system. You know, they have interacted with the 844 system. Now CBC is here. So at least they have something to compare. They are able to say, we used to do this way, now we are doing this way. We are paying school fees, and we are being given extended activity to do at home. These teachers are not doing
just
their
homework.
So it's becoming a challenge every day, because we get complaints every now and then when you give the so-called homework. That we are going to face it at the end of this year. We are no longer going to have the homework as part of the school system. So the negativity of the parents and the guardians is the one that's actually bringing all these problems. Because I was doing my own research in school with the children. I was like, how is CBC? Children are okay with it. They're saying it's okay because they have never interacted with any other system. They were born and they found CBC in place. But our parents have problem with CBC because they have something to compare. They're saying it is good with that. But our children are okay so far, so good. And when you talk of the digital gadgets, the digital space, it's a high time parents embrace this. Even in public schools, it's all about negativity. Remove the negativity in you. You have gadgets at home. If I was to ask, is there any parent in this country who was given that gadget by the government? They went to those shops, they bought the gadgets themselves. They keep on buying gadgets for the children for birthdays.
That's true.
They can do the same to embrace CBC in public schools. They can do benchmarking in schools. They can borrow ideas from us. They can call us on board to come and train them. It's all about creativity. If you look at creativity and imagination, there's a problem solving as well under the competence of CBC. So how do you implement on the ground? We have the competence with us. So CBC talks about improvising. What I've noted, it's good to have an experience. I have my son is in a public school. My daughter is in a private school. So I'm able to compare the notes. I see extended activity from private. I don't see any extended activity from public. So it's all about us. We can come together, the way Faith has put it. Let us partner with parents, stakeholders, and then let us have the right people in the education system.
Did you say your son is in public school, your daughter is in private school? I have so many questions. Why? But okay. We're not going to go into that. But at the same time, these teachers are also parents as well, right? And like Dishon said, listen, if we would have like something that is equal and safe for all the learners, at as parents, we will not have a problem embracing it. But now the thing is, we're not too sure. Because at home, I can control, I can monitor what my child is doing.
Sure.
But in school, like he said, you have gadgets, and lab, 4 kwanza, you said you have 4.
Yeah.
So then monitoring what these learners are doing at that time is where most parents are like, okay, I am not too sure what exactly is happening. So to make sure that Dishon is okay where he is, he has a peace of mind knowing that even in as much as his children, you know, getting to learn, and this is via technology, but they are also safe. They're not accessing content that is not safe for them. So again, can you speak on that very quickly as far as then what responsibility teachers bear to make sure that these kids are safe in as much as you want them to learn via technology?
That's a challenge that we had at the beginning of the CBC. Okay. You know, hackers are always on board to ensure that they disrupt whatever you're doing.
That's true.
I remember at some point we are doing Zoom and somebody just got in the Zoom without being admitted. So from there we started working it out. We have parental control softwares which we download. So we are able to know what a child is doing on his or a computer on the other side.
Okay.
So you try to access something, you switch off the machine. Yeah. So we have those software. So parents should not be worried.
Okay.
Okay. In public school they are not yet there, but very soon they are going to be there.
Okay.
That's my prayer.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's my prayer. Because it's too bad when you see private schools are doing very well, and our children in public schools are actually struggling.
And here we're saying equality when it comes to education. Okay. Moses, again, teachers were a bit concerned. What's going to happen to our jobs? Is it a chalk and a good old board, the blackboard, right? And then we talk about technology, and teachers are like, so if we embrace this, it's going to take away, you know, our jobs here and there. And then the whole aspect about not getting enough training to make sure that they also offer quality education. So then how do we solve these challenges? What will it take for us to get to that level where the teachers are comfortable? In as much as they're dealing with like hundreds of learners in public schools every single day, but they're comfortable enough to know that, number one, their jobs are secure still, but number two, they have easy access, and even, you know, when it comes to maneuvering the digital space as well. What will it take for us to get there?
I think teachers have had issues with the ICT integration, but as they have said, that is just resistance to change.
Yeah.
But if you look at the developed worlds, where technology has been there, learning for a while, you find that teachers are still there, and the human contact between the learner and the teacher is very important.
You cannot replace
so that fear is no longer there. But the major problem that we have, so that we also integrate the teachers with the ICT, is that there are no trainings for teachers. Some of the trainings that we are getting are from the private, the private providers like TESAs, and these people alone cannot cover the teaching force in time.
Okay.
So what you are saying is that the government must prioritize training of the teachers in ICT.
Okay.
The time given when they train is not adequate. Because technology is also changing very fast.
That's true.
And so the teachers are being relegated to the back seat because today, I mean, you have to move with the trends, and that one must be provided for by the government and the partners. Otherwise, teachers will be comfortable with the technology the moment they are taken through these trainings. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't see any difficulty because all of us are coming to accept that we must move with technology.
That's true.
Otherwise, if we don't, the technology will just leave us behind, and it will be very difficult
to catch up.
As it is for everybody now who is not very keen about technology. We are being left out. So I would say that teachers should be part and parcel of the technological development in the country. and in the world, so that we move with the world the way it is moving.
All right.
But also invite the ministry to take training very serious, to take the ICT integration very seriously, because they have no alternative. They have no options.
Okay. Technology is here to stay. We cannot wish it away. All right. Do you want to add to the same? Or Dishon, did you have something to add?
No.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I would like to piggyback on that. Just looking at the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, the report that was presented a few days back to the President. And the question on teacher training is a big one. You're looking at, from the sample population, about 34% felt of the key stakeholders felt that teachers have not been trained enough on CBC implementation. And one of the core competencies of CBC is digital literacy, right? But also to build on what he has said, I don't think we are having enough of this conversation on a mindset shift, right? Today we are talking about equipping the educators and teachers with the technical skills to implement CBC effectively. But are we thinking about the softer 21st century skills that they actually need for that mindset shift? So I think even as we have this conversation on digital literacy, the incorporation of technology-based tools in education, we have to think about a holistic and sustainable intervention. It is not just about training the teachers or facilitators of education on digital literacy and how to actually use the phone, a tablet, a laptop as a tool to deploy education, right? Even conduct assessment and so on and so forth. It is very critical that we also begin to incorporate what you would call the softer skills, emotional intelligence, adaptability and flexibility, for example, critical thinking, right? So all this we have to think about towards what I now want to focus on as a mindset shift among the key stakeholders. So I just wanted to piggyback and highlight that, that even as we think about teacher training, rather retooling, because they're already trained, right?
That's true.
So it's not a very popular term, or you know, so it's teacher retooling, upskilling, right? Even as we think about that, let's think about it from a holistic perspective to ensure that we are actually driving a mental or mindset kind of shift when it comes to adopting technology for education.
And also improving, I think, on human resource, because if one teacher is dealing with like 100 learners, and you expect them to deliver quality, you know, service, it's not possible. And I know there has been a lot of conversation about the same. And this is, we do not have enough teachers in schools in as much as we are training several every year, and they're graduating and whatnot. But yes, I think that is, I know that is one of the key things that you also want to speak about. And this is as far as human resources is concerned.
We don't have enough teachers in our schools. Because if you look at, for example, to start with the CPC, the grade 7, there are only 2 teachers against 14 areas of learning. And these teachers are majorly trained on 2 subjects. So when you post 2 teachers to take a class that will learn 14 areas, that is mockery of learning. So I think we need to prioritize on the employment of teachers, because most of the schools are grossly understaffed. And the numbers with the 100% transition in the high schools has astronomically expanded. So you find that a teacher is manning 100+ class of learners. You see, giving quality learning in that class is near impossible, because you will not attend to individual learners.
That's true.
So we are saying that, but when unions talk about staffing, people want to think about these people want union dues. I mean, it is not that. I mean, there is that. We are also part and parcel of the culture of learning and teaching. So we need to have teachers' burden reduced in terms of what they teach. So we have seen the government talking about employing 30,000
teachers, yeah.
You know, the people they are employing are interns.
Okay.
Who are at the end of the day, we are going to earn 15,000 and 20,000 per month.
Yeah.
As compared to their counterpart who are permanent and pensionable. So you can see already the inequality.
Yeah, that is there.
Discrimination has started creeping in. That now me, I'm working this much. I'm not getting paid this. And this person is working this much and getting this.
Yeah.
Where am I? So, you know, emotionally speaking, and teaching is also emotional because you must love what you are doing. Tell me the person who is earning that kind of money and will interact with the learners when you are agonizing over what you don't have.
Yeah.
So I think we need to think about
all these areas critically. Okay, all right.
The intern is not solving
the teacher shortage problem.
The shortage person. Yeah.
Okay, very quickly, and then I'll come back to Dishon. Yeah.
Just for reinforcement on what Faith said about training, you find that most of the training that we attend, they are theoretical. They are more of theory than practical.
Okay.
So you go for trainings, like 3 days training. They expect you to gain all those slides, like 43 pages.
Yes.
Within 3 days. That's a lie.
Yeah.
We need like this long holiday. We need like a month. Teachers are taken somewhere. They are trained on ICT properly. By the time the teacher is leaving that place, is well equipped with digital literacy, his or her end.
Yeah.
The coding is coming in place as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder how will teachers learn the coding when they have not actually embraced the ICT itself.
Yeah.
So we need proper training.
Yeah.
If the government is organizing for training, they should not be doing the 3 days thing.
Yeah. And
they
you
should
expect to learn
for it
everything
very well.
and prepare. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So pelekwe holiday somewhere. Training, yes, for a whole month and all those things. But no, I agree. Proper training, you know, and it's required because we also demand a lot from the teachers in terms of, you know, quality when it comes to education, which again, like we said, is enshrined in the Constitution. Okay, so we literally need to end the conversation right now. Dishon, umeskiza everything else that has been said. All these challenges, you know, that are there, mind shift aspect, you know, that has been brought up. There's also the human resource aspect. So as a parent, are you concerned about the quality? And then to take us your parting shot will be, so understanding all those things and the role that every parent has to play to ensure the success of digital learning is concerned, what is it that you would say need to happen for the parent, and what exactly does the future look like? Very quickly, in like 30 seconds.
Okay, cool. So basically, I've listened to the conversation, and my take is this. The children, the learners are hungry for this ICT, the knowledge. So, and basically, what I would like to advocate is quick adaptation of the same, and then also for the teachers themselves to be quick to adapt also to this and to learn as much as, so that they can be able to teach and impact these little ones. Because like Shiro said, Faith said, the future is in IT. That's where the future is. So we can't do away with this. And then the easiest way to get equality and good education is through tech.
Okay, I see that. All right, I see that. Faith, the future, what does it look like? Understanding all the challenges that we're experiencing right now, what exactly does the future look like when it comes to tech?
Absolutely bright. We have to be very optimistic about the good things that come with technology. I mean, when you're looking at the different SDGs and you're looking at even health, for example, we are really leveraging technology for diagnostics and health tech. We are leveraging technology for financial services. You can access your bank account on your phone or a mobile money application on your phone. But why aren't we putting as much effort to ensuring that we are scaling technology-based education across the country? We are having 25,000 free Wi-Fi hotspots being put up across the country. I am yet to understand if some of these sit within schools, right? So we are talking about employment and online jobs, right? but we are talking about infrastructural development, and yet we are not prioritizing technology for education. So as I close, I want to say this, that even as you think about all the challenges, there's always going to be problem solvers and creative individuals, innovative individuals who create and design solutions to these problems. When you want to scale change, you want to drive change at scale, you definitely have to start somewhere. A model to drive systemic change. We already have players in that space. Let's partner, TISA, Scoopet, the TSC, whoever else, the schools, to actually drive this systemic change at scale.
I see that. Okay, very quickly, because now Sister Faith has cooled your 10 minutes. I mean 10 seconds. So in 20 seconds, what exactly does the future look like given everything that we are experiencing right now? Very quickly, before we close the show.
Time is of essence.
Okay.
And we are asking the government to move with speed and prioritize ICT in education. Simple.
As simple as that. I like that. Hey, all right. Last but not least, Simon, in like 15 seconds?
15 seconds is good.
Yeah.
When you talk of the government, we are the government.
Okay.
The administration, the government, is the one that has failed. But we are the government to make the government succeed in whatever they have planned to do.
Okay.
So let us be optimistic, the way she has said. My prayer is God sends his angels to intervene in the heart of those pessimists towards CBC to be very optimistic towards this CBC, because the future of our children is very bright, as it has been said. The only gap that needs to be worked on, I've seen that one. The assessment mode, the way assessments are being done with CBC, there's a very big gap, and you can tell it. But CBC is there to stay, and you're going to embrace it forward.
Okay, I like that. We are the government. I like that. All right, Simon Chiraku, Umutiti, Senior Teacher, Jonathan Glog Academy, and we also had Moses Thurima, who's the Deputy Secretary General, Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, that is Scoopet, and Faith Ngoyoyo Mwangi, who's a country lead at TISA's Education. And last but not least, Dishon Mwaza, CBC parent, here this morning to help us with this conversation. Thank you so much. I think this deliberation should also continue so that we see a solution, because like we said, we cannot wish technology away, and we want to make it as easy, accessible, and most importantly, equal for all our learners. So thank you so much for your time this morning, and thank you for staying with us until the end of the show. My name is Winnie Lubembe, and like I said, let's keep the conversation going online. But for now, enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy your weekend as well. See you on Monday. Goodbye.